Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Excellency Esports, third week of the summer split here in heavyweight. My name is Dia. I am joined directly below me by RMC, followed by Necrox, followed by a beautiful Snorlax DJ. Now, DJ, whether you know it or not, you've already set me up because you are one majestic, beautiful animal. But we're going to be taking a look at some others today because this is just the first couple minutes of the stream, and we got plenty to cover before we see the games tonight. Not just the players on the Rift, it's going to be some wild animals too. Let's take a look at some of the majestic animals that we're going to be face to face with.
AoE God Squad, a newly introduced species to the delicate biome of Excellency's Heavy League. In an environment dominated by established predators, the God Squad will either need to stay together for safety and carve out their own niche, or use their claws and fangs to become an apex predator themselves. While they are new and vulnerable, the AoE God Squad have several separate strengths of their own that have allowed them to survive thus far. The desolate top lane is an area in which mistakes are punished. Every little advantage needs to be conserved. Rather than wasting energy in pointless combat, Andesu of the God Squad focuses on herbivorous farming, the most efficient way of gathering strength. But herbivorous does not mean weak. When attacked, Andesu is more than capable of holding his own, even more so when any of his squad mates are in danger. The gentle giant will not hesitate to throw his considerable bulk into the fray, burning all his hard-won energy in a burst of ferocity so great that none may stand before it. Momentarily, at any rate. If Andesu is a gentle giant, Melscout is a tyrannical juggernaut. While farming might be most efficient, hunting and slaying have always yielded more immediate results. And for Melscout, the bigger the beast, the harder they fall. Red buff? Herald? These are but warm-ups to the real hunt, champions. And as Melscout finishes off the Herald here, fellow squadmate Runeweaver is setting up to lead Melscout to the unsuspecting targets of Kapatai and Shida Kane. Eyes clouded with aggression here, Melscout charges in, bearing down on his hapless prey, and they have no chance. This particular hunt ends well, but the lack of hesitation is a double-edged blade, and sometimes Melscout can find himself in some truly terrible situations. The aforementioned Runeweaver is yet another carnivorous member of the God Squad. Rather than overbearing physicality, Runeweaver prefers to use more sophisticated methods. He might look harmless, but do not be fooled. Behind that harmless slithering lies venomous fangs, and with prepared vision, Runeweaver calculatedly uses Melscout as bait, viciously finishing off Kapatai and then snaps at Shida Kane, giving them no time to react. Truly, a snake in the grass. In the south lies the territory of Paxax and Bellini Houdini. Paxax is the most dangerous and yet the most vulnerable of the God Squad. In terms of damage, they are matchless. In terms of survivability, hopeless. Not your typical herbivore. Which is why Paxax will often move into an area and defend it zealously. Beware anyone who trespasses, as Paxax will fight tooth and claw, often with backup. If most of the God Squad are either carnivores or herbivores, Bellini is an omnivore. Bellini attack, Bellini protect. But most importantly, Bellini has your back. As the glue that holds the God Squad together, Bellini does what is needed, where it's needed, taking on whatever form is necessary to get the job done.
Bellini had my back with a knife.
Will you see Bellini Houdini on their own. So when you see Bellini, beware the rest of the God Squad lurking somewhere nearby. Despite the separate strengths the God Squad has, individually it is barely enough to survive. Instead, The God Squad need to work together if they wish to do more than eking out a bare living.
All right. I think first things first. A round of applause for our resident David Attenborough. That was incredible. Thank you, our RMC. Biting the bullet, going first. That was, I think, a necessary introduction to AoE. Small disclaimer, they have changed their roster a little bit tonight, but we're gonna go on with the assumption that what we just saw here is 100% relevant. Are going to measure up.
I'm captivated by RMC's voice, whether he's doing a David Attenborough impression or not. So I'm sold on this.
Somewhere in between, very much so.
I don't know if RMC ever plans on quitting his day job and just going to watch nature for fun, but I'll be there. I'll support you 100% because that was beautiful, and the analysis there is key on point as well. But really, this is just magnificent stuff from a magnificent creature in RMC.
I can guarantee my David Attenborough impression won't be as good, mostly because it's not what I went for. So we'll see how that one turns out. But what I will say, RMC, is that if we're doing nature documentaries and you are out in nature, the Wickelhaus bear hates puns. Just know that. He will eat you.
That's a terrifying prospect. I want to know as well, and this can be from all three of you. We touched on every single member of the squad there. Who stood out to you? And again, we may not see them today, so feel free to take a safe bet. But what were the players there whose playstyles interested you? RMC, I'll have you go first.
Sure. I think I'm going to go with the safe bet. I'm going to go with Melscout because he's technically their captain, so I'm assuming he's playing tonight. But that aside as well, I think Melscout's one of the more aggressive players in the team, constantly looking for fights. Like in the clips we saw there, you could see on the Olaf, he's just constantly going in. So aggression's fun to watch, and that's what I want to see.
Now, Necrox?
I'm going to go on the other end. You went for the jungle. I'm going to go for the AD carry. I think this pool has been really highly contested recently with a lot of new names coming in. I think Paxax could be a rising star. Does he have the support he needs is the biggest question. No, he has the skill to do it, but it's all going to come down to team play tonight and that coordination to keep him alive.
It's an interesting balance, isn't it, between things like the jungler, who's also the captain, who builds the roster, and the actual very talented players that we get to see emerge alongside of that roster, what the focus is going to be. But DJ, I want to know what you're looking at.
I mean, easy answer here. It's Bellini, because obviously he attack and he protect. Like, that is literally everything you need to do. Like, that's the whole shebang. That's the hot dog and the bun. That's the ketchup and the mustard. Unless you live in Chicago, then we don't do ketchup. But yeah, I mean, that's just easier answer. And I'm guessing that if Bellini does attack and protect, he probably also snack.
Did that hot dog comment catch anyone else super off guard?
Yes.
I definitely. You don't do ketchup? Stop everything.
It's a very Chicago thing. Anyone that is from Chicago or lives in Chicago that knows that I'm from Chicago, you can look it up. Chicagoans do not eat ketchup on their hot dogs. It's not.
What do you put on your hot dogs then?
They're full stack: mustard, relish, pickle, jalapenos, like everything.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm gonna look that up. That sounds kind of crazy to me. But before we do have yet another AoE video to throw down here. See if we can get a closer look at some of these players and see how they fight.
Nature Doc.
Now, alone AoE God Squad are dangerous. When threatened, they can be a force to be reckoned with. Take care, as a Riven classically overestimates her power, and Andesu, the herbivorous wonder, swiftly shows her to the grave. This is but a taste of what AoE God Squad bring to the Rift. Let's take a look at them when they're operating as one deadly unit. Take this for example, as an aggression on one member of the God Squad can mean demise for the enemy team. Here, we see Runeweaver under threat, and as the God Squad notice, things get very dicey for Jesus in a bottle and Kapitai. Now Runeweaver, he's a sneaky fellow all by himself and manages to get quite far, buying time for the real apex predator, Melscout, to really lay down the hurt. Melscout makes quick work of Jesus in a bottle's health bar, leaving him at single digits, and then turns his attention back to those that challenged his territory. Kapitai, pushed all the way under tower, barely manages to live until Melscout takes his piece. This is where the team strength really shines through. With Melscout able to survive, the rest of the pack take over, netting AoE God Squad in what would otherwise have been a terrifying scenario. 2 quick kills. When working as a team, the God Squad are never truly down and out. Even with Melscout going up against a very scary woman with the sword, they do not let these odds overwhelm them. As their base is threatened, the rest of AoE still collapse, finding a way to punish what would otherwise have been a free push. Melscout honorably will give up his life for his team, and Runeweaver lays the ground for an impressive battle. Finding a single route, Paxax has arrived, and this is a carnivorous beast. Already finding 1 kill, it's difficult to imagine a scenario where AoE God Squad would be threatened. Unfortunately for them, the road does not end there. After losing Paxax, it is simply Runeweaver and Andesu left alive. As Runeweaver falls, Andesu is the one that cleans up the fight and walks away into the sunset. This team never says die. When put on the defensive, AoE are deadly. Take here for instance, as together they fend off an invasion of their home territory. Omnivores and predators alike work together to defend what they call home, and even in face of vicious onslaught, here the fangs really do come out, melting the opposition. AoE God Squad lay down rockets, poison, and sharp knives of every kind and color to wipe their enemies from the rift. This is not a team that will go down without a fight. All right, welcome back. That was our second sort of look at AoE, and I know that after that your opinion of them may have changed, but those are some pretty scary, spooky team fights. But I want to know, of all of those, from both of the videos we got to see, Necrox and DJ, who didn't get a chance to look at them, what were some of your favorite plays?
I'll go first here. I think I might take a cheap way out, but that last team fight at the end, backs up against the wall, it was beautiful. Like everything you can ask for, that was really well done. And that final push is all you need, and really just giving it your all in a full-on 5v5. AoE come together as one big herd and just pounce on their prey, and it looked good.
Now, I know that you mentioned that their backs were up against the wall. It's a surprisingly frequent thing for AoE, especially last week. Things were really on the ropes there. So I'm hoping that this week we get similarly well-paced team fights with a little bit less risk added onto them. DJ, how about you?
So my favorite fight for you, Dia, and I was just impressed with your camera work. You know, out in nature, it's really, really hard to find a drunk animal. And that Rakan ulti from the enemy team on that Runeweaver play, was, I mean, legendary. Like, I've never seen something be so unbelievably uncoordinated in the wild. So I'm very, very impressed that you were able to pull that one out of there. That is a rare find, and that one belongs definitely in the Film Hall of Fame. Also, pretty funny that Runeweaver was probably BMing him as that was happening.
I wasn't gonna call it out. No, you gotta call it out. That was that was an interesting clip, to be sure. I'm like the Jane Goodall of AoE out here, but I know that we've got one of our own for the side of YO Boomers. And before we go over to check out what we have for them, Necrox, I want to know, based on what you've already seen, do you think that YO Boomers are going to be able to handle the pressure that AoE God Squad can put out in a team fight?
I'll be honest, I don't think it's even going to be close. YO Boomers are going to slaughter AoE. As long as you can stall out for a little bit, wait for some more of that endurance to build up, the strength is just going to be too big. Their team fight is just incredible, and YO, I don't think this one's going to be close. As long as they don't get caught off guard, there's no ambush, there's no surprise attack. This one, clean as a whistle.
All right, you heard it here. We've got some other brawlers around. Let's present WYO Boomers.
Watch now as the full pack of YO Boomers arrives near the dragon. It always attracts so much attention between rivals and their adversaries. An attempt at a gauge goes a little bit wrong, but the chaos ensues within moments. Chaser tries to get onto the back line, but YO Boomers will turn this one around and give everything they have to this fight. An attempted escape by Array, but YO are on the hunt. The little Yordle on a full dash away. Wickle trying to chase a buster shot to safety, but Array may have found safety here. Trinity cleans that one up, and another meal for the Vladimir. And here we go in the river once again. Birdman sets a trap and waits for Array to walk in. A nice play is going to be made now as the rest of YO begin to collapse. Wicklehouse, Palm Goat, and Birdman, 3-man in the river. And here comes the rest of the squad. Potato trying to reinforce, but there's just nothing you can do. When YO find their hunt, they do not relent. Potato soon to fall. H-King actually gets away with the death realm. Birdman trying to flash his way over the wall. Potato meanwhile has escaped. H-King exhausted. Here comes Rio to get one back. H-King now trying to get away. But YO do not give you any chance to breathe as they take a big team fight win in the river. Now around the Rift Herald, which can be quite a difficult one to pursue. YO decide it's their time in the river. A nice bubble connects, and now the chase is on. 1 kill already. We'll pursue more. Virus Harrow doesn't quite find the mark. Now the retreat's been called, but how far away can you get? Nice shot from Palm Goat. Will secure one more, and he's deadly when he gets a chance to make his mark. But the problem is, the enemy was lurking in the darkness. Palm Goat chasing around. The engage comes through, but Rio has a nice flank. The taunt and the flank combined will spell doom for the side of YO, as they are wiped away. Papa doing his best to hold on here against the ruthless pursuit that is put on by Potato and H-King, but now the party has arrived. Everyone wants a slice of this action. A chomp down from Wickle will start this one up and make it 2. The bear has found a feast in the top side. And now, once again, around this river area, where so many come to collect the necessary water for survival, a trap is laid in a brush. Array is the first one to be assaulted. And a massive bear across everyone will cause so much distraction. But not enough, as Palm Goat and Papa have to find themselves away for another time. Once again, it's Wyo that begin to approach their final destination at the Nexus. Rio and Potato trying their hardest to defend their homeland. But Wyo want this fight, and they'll take it at any cost. It starts out well, with one member of the herd going low. But look at the follow-up. Palm Goat just shreds everyone away. And the final kills come through as Wyo march straight to victory.
I love it. I can't help but notice that there were a lot of AD carries getting assassinated towards the beginning of that clip, Necrox. I feel like you've got a bias here that you just enjoy watching them go away. But I want to know, RMC, you hadn't managed to see these before. What stood out to you about these particular fights?
Well, for one, what stood out to me was across all the clips was kind of coordination that we saw from Wyo Boomers there. Not really any sort of solo action. The one that stands out the most is Birdman setting that ambush in the bush against the Tristana. Again, AD carry there. That stood up to me the most because it looked bad. I mean, support running into an ADC didn't look good, but off screen, everybody else just piling in quietly there. And I think that is a good way to try and catch out AoE if Wyo Boomers can set up properly this series.
Yeah, with 3 different clips of Tristana just getting blown up. DJ, tell me that you don't have some of those.
You might see one that's a little bit similar there, but I will say about the Wyo Boomers, you know, one thing that we haven't quite seen from them, they can be quite territorial with themselves. So you do have to be very, very sly to get some of these clips, which is why there might be one overlapping, because there's just not, it was really hard, you know, anytime you get close, they are out for blood. And that's why I'm wearing, you know, this is my disguise. I've had to wear this all week. I haven't taken it off. You know, I haven't showered. And that's the only way I've been able to get these clips of Wyo Boomers that you're about to see.
No. I'm gonna be behind a casting desk with this man. You haven't showered for a week, DJ. Please, come on, man. I'm not gonna be able to focus on the game. All I'm gonna be able to smell is DJ's armpits over here. Come on. Oh my gosh.
Smelling through the microphone. Absolutely terrifying. Well, we're gonna take a quick break so that DJ can take a shower and play one more Nature Doc for you.
Hiding out in his chapel of the north is a rogue papa going by the name Francesco. This specimen thrives by luring his enemies in before he strikes them down to pay for their sins. Papa is generous though, to his own kind at least. He's always ready to sacrifice his own well-being for the benefit of the Boomers, arriving on time every single time. But make no mistake, he's a miserly killer when it comes to his natural enemies. Around these parts, you always gotta fear the footsteps of the Wickelhaus bear. This bear is always hungry, as you can see from what he's doing to that poor insect there, oh god. Only thing the Wickelhaus bear likes more than the critters of the jungle though, is mid-laners. Man, he'll be up and trying to get at him as early as level 2 when nearly the whole biome's still catching some Z's. But that's the Wickelhaus bear for you. Only reason he doesn't eat Trinity is because Trinity tricked him into signing a blood pact. And now the Wickelhaus bear has to give him all the mid lane kills as part of the deal. Man, that bear was mad about that. almost as mad as when Protato killed his buddy to go to the Palms. No way he wasn't going to be there to avenge his fallen friend. The Goat of the Palms is truly a force to be reckoned with in the Heavy League region. He was a force from the beginning, but after seeing his eternal rival, the wizard cow Alistair, vanish to new pastures, this goat looks like the apex predator in the southern area of Heavy League. Yeah, there's always a few varmints every year that want to step up to the goat, but no matter what they try, he's always a step ahead and has the firepower to pierce through your defenses. Did I mention he can ride his buddy, the Wickelbaus bear, up to mid lane as well? The goat loves traveling to provide support to that wacky magical beast Trinity. Makes quite the scary combination. Finally, we have the Birdman. This fella truly is a unique specimen. Blessed by the Goat of the Palms with the freedom and speed to roam the world over, the Birdman has ridiculous mobility, can shapeshift into various forms to ensure the survival of himself and his broskies. Somehow though, even when he shapeshifts into the form of that old wizard Alistair, seems like critters just never see him coming. I mean, look at that poor blob of goo. He'll barrel right into him in order to get where he's going, and yeah, he's no carnivore, but he'll leave you battered and bruised, making you an easy target for the Wickelbaus bear and the Goat of the Palms.
That was that was amazing. I will say though, DJ, it's a little different from the requested material. The southern accent, I don't believe was discussed here, but you know what? You pulled it off really well.
What are all nature documentarians Australian or British? Like what is this exclusive policy here?
Listen, I don't make the rules, DJ, but you're the one that looks crazier. I don't even have to make an argument here. I'm the one that looks like a sane person. Take a shower, DJ.
I mean, we'll get there, you know. Again, the clips were we got it, we survived, we've made it back just in time, and yeah, while you guys are on AD, I'll go take my shower and we'll be ready to watch YO Boomers take on AoE.
I don't know what's worse, the scent or the accent or the camera work. Like, so one of these three, or maybe all three, has to go, but the combination is killing me.
I didn't mean to turn it into a piling onto DJ Fest, which I'm happy to have it become, as long as we're also talking about YO Boomers in the same breath. Because we did just get to see quite a bit of them, and thankfully we got to see Tristana get murdered again. So it was definitely a YO Boomers game. But off of that, I couldn't help but notice the same thing that I almost noticed in the first one. That is that their team fights and their fights in general tend to take place around this river area. There's a lot of mid-area fighting, is what I'll call it, over these objectives, and that, to me, already bodes well for a team that is pretty experienced in the league, has had several splits here in Excellency. And, well, RMC, I want to know what stood out to you that from having a little bit more color analysis.
I think, DJ had a lot of focus on this Wickelbaus bear, as he calls it, and Palm Goat. These animals here in the YO Boomer biome, and I'm very curious to see how they'll perform here, because if we're fighting a lot in the river here, Wickelbaus as a jungler is going to be absolutely critical in trying to decide when they initiate, when they go for the objectives, and when they go for the fights. And Palm Goat. Not so many ADCs dying this time. Palm Goat, I don't think, died quite as much in this set of clips. But Palm Goat has to be able to pump out that damage there. And I want to be able to see if Palm Goat can survive these sort of river skirmishes here.
And for you, DJ and Necrox, who had the honor of presenting such things, now that we've had the whole clips to go through, how do you feel about the matchup tonight? Just before we go over to analyst stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shaky on my 100% prediction from earlier. I just realized that there were clips in there of YO losing team fights. So I don't know, maybe I'm jumping ship a little bit too early here. I'm curious what you guys have to say on the analyst desk, but I'm a little nervous about this one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You got any last thoughts for us before the intermission, DJ?
Yeah, I have one or two, I suppose. So number one is depending on what the roster here is for AoE God Squad, I will say the Go to the Palms, classic carry here in Heavy League. Been ruling that part of the Heavy League region for a long time, but I've heard rumblings of this Paxax character here as being an up and coming sort of tiger in the region to challenge the old goat. So if Paxax is playing tonight, I am a little concerned. However, if he is not in particular, I think the Wicklehouse Bear is going to run in, going to eat some of the AoE God Squad, and going to run out with his Blood Pact with Trinity intact, and Wyo will take it 2-1.
Now with both of your predictions to do us well, me and RMC are going to break off, have a little powwow before we send it over to you guys to cast. I want to hear from RMC about what his thoughts are about tonight's matchup, all on our Lone Sim. So we'll transition over to the analyst desk segment.